Let's, in our closing moments over here, jump to this new release, RandyPOP Live. Randy, how did this recording come about?
Well, originally, my recollection was my wife, Ada Rovati, had the idea that I kind of poo-pooed to put something together that, with respect to all the records I played on in the 70s and 80s when there was a lot of studio work. And then Jeff Levinson, who works at the Blue Note Club in New York, also concurrently had an idea, and he had done a project with Kenny and Rosanna Vitro revisiting rock tunes that she loved, and Kenny did just a great job in revamping these tunes, kind of casting a new light on every tune, particularly What Is Hip by Tower of Power. That one stood out. So when Jeff came up with the idea, our first thought, of course, was to call Kenny and put a great band together and kind of do tunes. I sent Kenny a bunch of tunes, and whichever ones he felt an affinity for, we decided to do. And he just did. It's his record as much as my record. He just did a really great job in recasting these tunes with a bunch of original, crazy, some ideas that were just a thrill to play. And some I had to say, well, I hope I can do this, or I can either hope I can carry this through, or at least I hope I can play this. It was not easy stuff to learn, but everyone really put their full concentration in. Amanda was great. She has a it's not easy for a singer to sing this stuff, but everybody did really well, so I'm really proud of this record.
Kenny, when you're dealing with iconic songs like I Can't Quit Her and New Frontier and James Brown material, how do you approach that from an arranging perspective?
Well, it depends on what the person I'm arranging for wants. I always put out this disclaimer. I'm a little nervous about this record because you could have just covered it and made them instrumentals instead of vocals, except for the ones that Amanda's singing on. And that's what I would have done, but they actually put it to me like, you know what you did to, like, What Is Hip? You know, how bizarre that became? What about a record like that, you know? So I've been saying, hey, if you love it, thank you. If you don't, it wasn't my idea, actually. But that is actually my instinct of how I arrange. I called it deranging, you know, getting it to the point where it has the remnants of what it's iconically known for, but it has something disorienting. I think it comes from the old days that Bob was alluding to, and you know, that where we all came from, where like we like to be in a state of mind. We looked at a wall and it was the most interesting thing you've ever seen in your life. You know, I still try to get there in my. I guess I'm still an old psychedelic hippie. I still try to get there in the music, and to arrange that way in a way as a way of trying to pierce that wall. That sounds like that tune, but am I high, or is that tune doing something really different? That's still kind of my favorite thing. But as I say, anyway, quickly, because I know we're out of time. The way I approach is I start with the characteristic elements of that tune, and then I wonder what I could do that would either counter that or distort that. And that's how I approach it with each tune. And so the tunes I chose of the ones Randy gave me, the ones where I had an idea of what would be the surreal or impressionistic version of the same thing. That's kind of what it is.
And in addition to great charts and great tunes, this is a fantastic band. Adam, could you tell us what it was like playing in a rhythm section with Kenny, John Patitucci, and Nate Smith on drums?
Fantastic. You know, Nate, I played a tremendous amount with. I was very happy he was part of it because he has a huge swath of abilities and has a certain kind of groove that a lot of other drummers in the jazz world don't have. He's super funky and really understands pop music, I feel, in a way that's pretty special. And John, I've also played with a lot in different circumstances. I love playing with him in something that gets to a very sort of groovy place because he has such a strong pocket, and him and Nate sounded amazing together. And I love playing with Kenny, like in any situation. It just, you know, in this particular one, you know, it's funny because I didn't hear the record for a while because there were a couple of years between recording it and now, and I remembered how great it was, and it's sort of in some sort of weird, organic, intuitive way when you were talking, Kenny, about the, distorting things. I just felt like playing in that rhythm section with this unbelievably strong sort of funk pocket and the harmonic sophistication that Kenny would bring to these tunes, which, it's sort of unforgiving, because if you do too much, as I think you guys might echo, it becomes something else. But I think a testament to how great Kenny is, both as an arranger and as a player, is that no matter how far we took it out, I felt like what was crucial about these songs is still there. What gives these tunes their identity, and so an incredible rhythm section. Nothing but fun and groove and.
Yeah, we certainly get that when we hear it. Amanda, from your perspective as a vocalist, working in a group with these instrumental giants, was the music challenging?
Yes, it was. It was. Thank you, Kenny. No, it was. It was definitely challenging. But I'm always up for a good challenge, especially in music, and it pushed me. And so for me, it was a very unique experience, something which I had never done before. Working with an all-star cast, being on stage with so many musicians that I admire and look up to, and first and foremost my dad. So being up on stage with him for a week and playing 2 shows a night and sharing that was just a very unique experience, and it was wonderful. Definitely challenging. We didn't have much time. I think we kind of put things together. We went into rehearsal, and it was. I loved every minute of it. I would do it all over again. It was so fun.
Well, thankfully it was documented both on video and audio. People can check it out. And I wanted to ask you, Randy, where did this RanDPOP thing come from? You do a little vocalizing here on the recording.
All right, that's Randroid. That's my RanDPOP's my email. That was kind of a joke. The name came from great altoist Gary Bartz, who had a tour in Japan years ago, and he'd walk up to me early in the evening and say, "Randroid, you in there yet? Oh, no, you're not there yet. I'll come back and talk to you later." And he'd come back after we had a couple shots, et cetera, late at night, say, "Randroid, okay, let's talk." So I just kind of kept the name. It was his idea. And Randroid just comes out when Randy Brecker is too embarrassed to come out as himself.
How did you get into the vocalization, the rap aspect of it?
Well, it's a funny thing. Horace Silver wrote lyrics to all his tunes. When we were on the road all those years ago, when we were in a bus or on a train, he'd always not only be writing music, but he'd be writing lyrics. So I kind of took it upon myself, especially when the computer thing, when I got my first laptop, I took it upon myself to try to write lyrics to some of the tunes I had written, and just write lyrics in general when I was kind of out and about. I was out and about a lot more than I am now. And somebody had to sing them, so I got together with my good friend, this was, about the year 2000 or 2001, and we decided to record all these tunes I had written lyrics for, and who best to sing them but Randroid. So we did a record called Hangin' in the City, Songs of Rhyme, Reason, Romance, and Raunch. Adam is on some of it, I think, right? Yeah. And it was a lot of fun to do. Some of it kind of tongue-in-cheek, and the critics definitely looked at it kind of with some trepidation, or weren't sure what to make of it. But out of all the records I've done, that might have been the most fun one to do. There's some really good stuff on there. We had to make sure there was good music on there, not only Randroid singing. But it was a lot of fun to do. Songs of Rhyme, Reason, Romance, and Raunch.
What songs were associated with Raunch?
Well, you just have to listen to the lyrics. There's one called Never Tell Her You Love Her Unless She's 3,000 Miles Away. That was one of them. This is before I was married.
It seems kind of unbelievable.